What's up, YouTubers? It's your boy C again, transmitting from outer space in FEMA Region 4 at the very edge of the 2/3 restricted zone with another episode of C's Retro Garage. We are coming to you today from the Man Oasis, as in Man Oasis, not Man Cave, the Man Oasis. Just my garage here to answer a question that I've seen answered many times, had several answers to, but we're going to give you the straight skinny. Now, biggest question I've seen suspension wise for a 2010 Camaro is, can it get a strut tower brace? The answer, yes it can. And this is an old question and an old answer. It's actually been out for many years. But what makes it such a pain in the ass? Oh, it's very simple. If you were to look, there's no holes. From the factory, for whatever reason, they decided they were not going to do this on a 2010 Camaro. Now keep in mind, this was based on a GTO platform at the time. Now if you have a 2010, 2011, the holes are not there. You have to create the holes. So here's the question. Can you do it? Yes, you can do it. Here's the second question. Can it be a one-point strut tower? Yes, it can. But it's a pain in the ass. And it's actually not a very cheap fix, because you do have to buy a kit to enable you to do so. Why? When you look at the Camaro, you see right there, that has to be relocated. The actual hydraulic has to be relocated for the 2010 Camaro and the early 2011s. So can you do a 2-point or more strut tower? Yes, you can. And it's actually existed for quite some time. You can see this one. That's just kind of right there. But it's not fastened. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fasten it. This one just happens to be made by Hotchkis. Hotchkis is a maker of extremely good, suspension components. And we're going to do this one. But here's the other question. We're going to follow manufacturer's recommendations up to a certain point, because you're always told this can't be done without getting the car jacked up and removing the struts. I say, bullshit, yes you can, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to spare you all the trouble of jacking up the car, putting it on jack stands and all types of ill shit. But, disclaimer, if you need to know how to do it, then stop right now, call your friend, call a mechanic, go to a body shop, go somewhere else. Don't do this shit, okay? Because if you can't do something as simple as jack up a car and take off a tire, you got no business doing any of this shit. And I'm being serious. Your safety comes first. If you're not a handy person, don't even waste your time. What's important to know is you follow the manufacturer specs up to a certain point, and then it's all about the tools. And that's where I'm going to come in, and I'm going to do this part of the video. So sit back, relax. I'm about to fire one up myself, and again, spare you the trouble of getting this damn car up and putting it on jack stands. I'll just take a quick look at it so you can see it, just in case, so you can see that I'm being honest, and yeah, I'm being safe too. Other than that, kick my porno music. Okay guys, so at this point we are still under the, manufacturer's recommended procedures. The car is jacked up. Jack. There's the jack stand for safety. And here is the strut that they want us to remove. And the reason they want you to remove it is clearance, because right there is where you're supposed to drill the hole. But just to give you an idea, that's the type of space. Now, this is pretty much the only reason you have to remove the strut, is to drill one stinking lousy hole. So now imagine having to unbolt this bitch right here, okay? Move this damn thing out of the way, get up on top, above, undo all this shit so you can get to it. And I say, fuck that, not happening. But what if you could actually drill this hole without doing it? Above. You say, well, the reason that the manufacturer, if you were to look here in the instruction, they're showing you right there. That's where you punch. Now this would be for the passenger side versus using the one for the driver's side. But this would be the passenger side. It's the picture, so it would just be the opposite side. There's the other look. So yeah, sure, you'd have a completely unobstructed, straight path to drill. So how do we go about not removing the strut, which is a pain in the ass? There's two ways. To get to this hole, as they tell you, if you look on the next part of the instructions, use a center punch, drill a small guide hole, finish off with a 3/8. Simple enough. So to make said guide hole, you're using a little itty bitty drill bit and the center punch. Okay, if your hand's pretty straight, you don't really need the center punch. You can kind of get this pretty much on your own without it. But what if I told you that this hole, this mark, as below, so above. For the camera's sake, I just put a little scratch in here so you can kind of see, where it is. That's your spot. It ain't this one. It ain't this one. Now, in 2011 and a half and up, these holes are already there. For whatever reason, GM didn't feel the need to do this, or maybe they rushed production a little bit. Could have been some of the old Holden platforms. I don't know. I don't work there. Who the hell knows what any car manufacturer thinks of, once it leaves the design table and goes to engineering and then to production. So how do we do it? Well, take a look. Removing this part of the cowl is going to get you X amount of clearance. These guys are pretty easy to remove. This plastic, you gently move out of the way. No big deal. This is one way we can do it. How do we do it? I told you it's all about the tools. You need a sideways angle drill and a severe amount of patience and a steady hand. Don't rush to pop the hole. You can also do the same down below. But the main difference is going down below. If you look, well, there's just not enough clearance. Even the standard drill bit. However, they do make 12-inch drill bits, where there's only about 3 inches or so at the end that actually will perforate a surface. So if I was to go ahead and grab a tape measure, and the only reason I'm doing this right now is just because I'm lazy. I don't feel like going to go grab them. Go ahead and from there, here's your 12 inches. So you're looking at your angle drill being actually out about here. when this pops right through, right up and over. And you're actually using the strut, the coil on the strut, as a bit of a guide. So which method are we going to do? Either one works, guys, but that's how you do it. I'm going to save you a lot of the drama of the drilling and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll pop that hole, show you the hole, and then we'll move on to the other side. Alright, the best tool in the world for these guys, this little guy. Watch this. Simple as that. Alright guys, there's your hole, right there. Did it from above. You can see, right there. Excuse me if I sound a little muffled sometimes, because remember what I said? Had to spark one. So, this was done from above. It took a little bit less than 10 minutes. Again, just a little bit of patience, because this is hard metal, and you're also using a side angle, or sideways drill. Don't have the same exact pop, and you can't put any pop behind it. It's designed to be used in this type of situation, but a little bit of patience. Take a little minute or two off in between to let it cool off. Now you can clean this crap up. Now we have to go to the bigger drill bit to get the hole going. All you really did was pop these guys off, pull up on this guy. Okay, it's this is all plastic, so it'll bend, it'll go back to shape. No worries, guys. Pull this piece off here, pull the hose off. So now it's just a matter of widening the hole, and then to punch the other hole, which is going to go over the top. I mean, this one's real easy. This one's real easy. This one's cake in comparison. If any of you guys are wondering what this guy on here is, this is just a float charger. I barely ever really drive this car. Again, this is FEMA Region 4, typical summer. We're always in the mid-90s, so it does get quite hot, and batteries don't do well. Even inside the garage, you're still looking at, mid-80s. So it's happens to just be a beautiful day today. At the time of this recording, we're kind of staring at a tropical storm, so it's a little breezy, a little cloudy. It's actually quite beautiful to be working outside. So we're just gonna go ahead and widen this hole, and that'll be the end of that. Show you what the finished product looks like. One other thing, guys, you'll notice there's actually two different size bolts. One's a little bit longer. I can only assume the slightly longer one's going to be for the rear. The reason I say this is because if you look at the Strut Tower Brace, look at the thickness here versus the thickness here. Okay? Just popping this guy through, you kind of get an idea. So, according to the manufacturer specs, which we've already circumvented for the driver's side, it's a 3/8 inch. However, according to our little friend here, no, it's not. Put it this way so you can kind of see it. This guy is actually right here. I don't know how well you can see it. Ah, son of a bitch. It kind of came out. Sucks doing this one-handed, huh? Okay. I don't know how well you can actually see it. I'll try to get it to the light a little bit. If you can kind of see it a little bit. There you go. It's actually 5/16. I can only assume the manufacturer told you to do 3/8 so that you get a little bit more play with the screw going through. 5/16 is going to be a little bit tight. The disadvantage of 3/8 is going to be you're going to have a longer bit, and you may not be able to get that bit through the way I showed you. But we'll try either way. And this might be the case where we have no choice but to bring out the 12-inch bits and go from below. But at least to make the hole, the guide hole that they tell you to, you can do this from above. But of course, guys, if you were paying attention earlier, you would know you got this guy. Take this guy, one of these universal bits. What does that say? 3/8 right there. And look at the difference in the length of this guy. We walk over here. Compared to this guy. Guess which one we're using? That's it. And there's your bolt. Look at that. Now I ask you again, is it really necessary to completely take this shit all apart just to make that one stinking lousy hole? Come on, guys. Now, the only thing I can think of is Hotchkis, when they came up with this, they're thinking about average guys, right? Just average guys with weekend warriors, socket and wrench kind of deal. That's all I can think of. So yeah, I mean, an angle drill, a sideways drill is not going to be something that you're probably going to have in your arsenal. You're probably going to have just a regular old drill, you know, and that's about it. So that's the only thing that comes to mind when they're saying, you know, to take off the strut. In all honesty, I don't see the reason for it. Because again, remember, this is a strut tower brace. It makes this stiffer. Compared to, and again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, compared to an actual strut bar. I thought I had one floating around here. Let me see if I can track it down. I don't ever remember having gotten rid of the thing. So bear with me one moment as I look for it. Alright, we'll take a walk real quick. I knew I'd find it. Remember, the Hotchkis one here for the Camaro, this is a strut tower brace. It stiffens the actual whole tower that holds the strut in place versus a strut bar. Now, this could just be semantics, or this could just be me knowing too much for my own good, or this could be somebody who just completely bullshitted me around. This is a strut bar. As you can see, this has 3 holes. This would actually hold that entire strut, the whole thing, in place versus the strut tower. So if you could imagine this guy, now they're different, yes, because this is actually for a Nissan Sentra. But as you can see, the bolts would come off for the strut itself, this guy here, and you would just kind of put this guy in here, here, and here, and this would hold itself, holding the strut itself stiff. Versus this guy is actually holding the entire tower, which holds the strut in its place. It's kind of the same shit if you think about it. Very little differences between the two, but that's kind of what you're looking at if you want to compare this guy versus this guy. As you can see, this guy's stiff, one piece solid. This guy's actually adjustable, so you can kind of adjust the tension, or I should say the firmness, depending on which side, if you feel has more pull here or there, whatever. But that's pretty much it. It would have been cool if I could have recycled this guy, actually. And I'm sure there's somebody with a lot better engineering background than I have that could probably figure out how to do it. Personally, I don't have any real interest in doing it. Not so much because I'm getting too old for this shit. But yeah, you do kind of get too old for this shit, and having stuff that's custom and designed for stuff really is very nice. It's a huge time savings. Okay, guys, there it is. for those that said it wasn't possible. Now these are not tightened. These will be tightened later. I'm going to clean this area up a little bit. I don't want to tighten them without doing the other side and tightening them together. But as you can see, there's no interference from the negative, the positive battery cable. This one's pretty simple because it's just straight through, just like the other side is going to be straight through over there. As you can see, that one's going to go in pretty smooth. This side is pretty much done. I'm just debating whether I actually want to paint this guy red to match the car. It would look kind of cool, even though really there's nothing else red in the car other than the catch can over there. You know, everything's either just plain black or chrome. Wouldn't be too hard to paint this guy. Just sand it down with a little wet sand, paint it with some high temperature paint. It's just debating whether I should or shouldn't, or if I really give a shit or not. It's not like it's ever going to be seen, but it is a little bit of a wow factor. You know, when you look under the hood, it's nice and red and ooh, you know. But there it is. There's the driver's side. Again, not going to tighten it until the passenger side over there is done. Once we finish the passenger side, then we'll go ahead and, you know, knock that out, tighten them. I also got to check to see if these torque to spec at all. I haven't gone that far ahead, but as far as the instruction manual, this is it. You know, this is doing everything according to their instruction up until dropping the strut. Now we got to get to the passenger side, and if we go over to the passenger side, passenger side looks like it might be a little bit more tricky. I'm gonna have to kind of pull the car out a little so I can kind of reposition myself a little bit better in the garage. The front, cake, self-explanatory. The back, though, if you look, is in a very uncomfortable spot compared to the driver's side. Passenger side is somewhat uncomfortable. So we might be bringing out those 12-inch bits. Or maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get behind the cabin filter here and take a look. Who knows? Wait and see.